Whoa, this is Quarantine Chronicles. I don't know why I started with whoa. This is Quarantine Chronicles episode 13, brought to you all the way from...
It's 14.
Episode 14, brought to you all the way from sunny Los Angeles, California.
I didn't, but...
I could have sworn it was
we did 13 last time.
I saved this file as episode 14, because I guess the last thing I sent you was a 13. That's how I know.
That's how I knew too. What coincidence.
Well, anyways, this is a podcast all about what we've seen, played, heard, or even thought about these last 2 weeks. Who's we? Who are those two voices correcting me? Well, they are Jason to my virtual left.
Hello.
Angel to my virtual right.
That's my last name.
The little angels on my shoulder. And I'm one of your hosts, Kevin. These two just celebrated 9 years of podcasting on our main series, Random Nintendo, so everyone shower these two with love on the blog post or Twitter because they deserve it.
Because God knows there isn't any between us.
Yeah.
Wow. And this is supposed to be a time when people come together, and that's what you say?
Yeah. Here at the top of the show, I just want to mention that to skip to any segment, we do have timestamps on the blog post at randomnintendo.com. And your favorite streaming service should also have the timestamps for each segment as well, right?
I believe so. They should be in there, yeah.
All right, cool. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good. Still full from Thanksgiving.
Yeah, just a nice, chill weekend. Just nice and chill.
Nice.
A lot of spending yesterday, but we could get into that later.
A lot of spending? A lot of Black Friday shopping?
Yeah.
Well, Angel, if you want to compete on that front, you're competing with someone that's moving into an apartment.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I've spent as much as Jason, but yesterday I spent about, I don't know, almost $400.
Hey, same. I spent $400 on the dot.
Dang, nice.
I'm not gonna say my number, but I will say I got an LG CX 55-inch TV. So,
fair. Like, what did you buy for Black Friday?
Well, first, my savings on the TV alone were the same as what you guys spent on Black Friday. I'm not trying to. It sounds like I'm looking at my money, but I'm in the process of moving. But,
no, you're literally moving to a new place. Like,
yeah, so I got it. I got the LG CX.
So that money that he gets from RNHQ.
Oh yeah, that I withhold from you guys.
He didn't even share it with us. What the heck?
But I mean, I have to, because how else am I going to afford to get all the stuff for my apartment? So
that's a good point. What did you end up buying? I'm assuming the one that we sent you.
The TV?
LG C9 or the CX?
I have the 55-inch CX, LG CX.
You have a 4K TV.
I have a 4K now? TV, and I can't wait to see how
there's 8K devices, so you're already obsolete.
But there's no 8K content is the thing.
I can't wait to see how slightly stretched but then resharpened by the software Switch games will look. It's going to be great. But no, it's a really nice TV. We were setting it up yesterday. But yeah, the TV, like a couch, because this is for those inside scoop, Ram Nintendo inside knowledge. I've been living at home this whole time, so I have to buy things. So couch, dining room table, bed, dresser, which still needs door, desk,
diamond table,
dining room.
I also heard diamond.
Oh yeah, diamond table. It's a table. It's not a table. To be clear, it's not a table made of diamonds. It's a table where I go count my diamonds.
That you're just eating on top of.
No. It's not made of diamonds. Where I go count my diamonds. It's a table just for counting diamonds. No, but dining room table, all that stuff, and then also like. I got 50% off towels, guys. Bed Bath & Beyond came through on Black Friday, so But I don't think I bought any, excluding the TV, I don't think anything I got for Black Friday this year is actually like my usual video gamey gadgety thing, which is odd because it always has been. I mean, the TV's a big purchase, but
yeah. How's the internet situation? Because I remember telling you, do not move into a place that doesn't have gigabit internet.
Well, so, Kevin, I respect your opinion and. You're a great friend, and I did not listen to it because we have Spectrum that only goes up to 940.
That's not bad.
Now, granted, we haven't actually done the 940 yet. We're at the mid tier, and I'm seeing if that's good enough because 940 has Spectrum is a stupid thing where it costs $200 to install the 940. All it is just a different router.
But it'll be worth it later.
Yeah, so I can upgrade if I need to. But for the time being, it's fine. I haven't tried uploading a podcast yet. That'll be the real test. But so far,
940. That's usually the speed that I get. I pay for 1 gigabit, but
right now we're half that. I didn't go to the 940 tier yet. I'm probably gonna end up there, but I'm gonna see if
Angel and Elvis, their internet's insane. I think they legit get 2 gigabits down.
Wow, really? Angel?
I remember thinking my internet was hot stuff, and then Elvis just proved me wrong, and now I just get roasted for it.
Wow. I remember I thought my internet was hot.
I mean, we went from two extremes. We literally went from like 5 megabytes like upload and like less than a megabyte like download for over 5 years. I remember it took like 30 minutes or more to like upload an episode of the podcast. No, it might have taken hours. I don't know, but it was ridiculous. And we were okay with that. And then we went to this new one and now it's like, I don't know how I used to live.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's such a massive jump.
Not to mention just the games we've been playing. It's like, wow, I feel so bad for all the people I made suffer with my horrible connection, especially as a Smash Bros. Player. Like, it's nuts.
Well, you know what's funny is, so here at my parents' house where I'm currently recording, Verizon was nice to us, I guess, and put in Fios very early on in my town. Like, we've had it for years, and I always assumed, oh, we have fiber, it must be the fastest. I learned when researching the internet for my new place, what the internet here is, my dad's only been paying for the 50 up, 50 down, or 100 up, 100 down, or like something that's low. And all this time I was like, oh, I have the best internet. No, literally cable does better, like 3-fold, 4-fold. My apartment with mid-range spectrum is 4 times as fast. It's just like, what? I've been living a lie this whole time. So,
well, I'm glad that the moving process seems not as chaotic as moving usually is.
I'm fortunate that I'm not paying rent where I am now. So I could just trickle in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, usually, like, you're kind of forced to get your friends involved to move a couch, and it's always like a pain in the butt because no one ever wants to do that. But looks like you barely had to move anything.
I always hear that like, oh, people dread moving.
It's like picking up a friend at an airport.
I love helping friends move. I don't know. I love that whole.
Look at Mother
thing.
Teresa over here.
Like, one of my coworkers recently moved, and he was like, "Oh, it's such a pain." I was like, "I'll help you out." And he's like, "No, don't worry about it." But he was moving from Downey in the same apartment that your brother, not your brother, your sister and your brother-in-law used to live at, Angel.
Oh, that place?
Yeah. I swear to God, they were next door neighbors. And then he's moving all the way up to Simi Valley, or he already moved up all the way to Simi Valley. So that was a huge jump.
Where is that?
A little northeast from here. Or from downtown LA, actually.
Oh, okay. So we're just passing downtown LA, and that'd be the next destination, I guess.
No.
It'd still be a little bit farther.
Like,
when he says a little, he means like more than a little.
Before Santa Barbara.
Passing Santa?
No,
before Santa Barbara. Pass on the way to Santa Barbara.
Near Burbank, I think?
Camarillo. Is it before or after Camarillo?
Let's go with that.
That's a really nice shopping district over there if you haven't been there, people. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, to all you listening in Kansas,
right
to all you listening in like Kansas, make the drive over here for this one shopping center. Come all the way to LA.
Do we have listeners in Kansas?
I don't know. Probably. We have listeners in like 87 countries.
If it's within an hour from you, because that's what it is for us, it's worth the day trip. When there isn't a pandemic, I don't know. I mean, it's basically what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, it's a shopping district. There's some outlets there, but the outlets are more on the Barney's scale of
They're
outlets. Higher end outlets. Yeah, but all I got on that.
All right, cool.
What were we even talking about? Jason's shopping habits? Oh,
my diamond table.
Where'd you get the furniture? I assume IKEA or Crate and Barrel or whatever.
Mix of living spaces and the internet.
Oh, gotcha.
Living spaces.
Yes, every time I hear the name. Fun fact, when they say the name in the store, they do not sing it. The more you know.
Nah, that's lame.
I know. Not very fun fact.
Because I know whenever you go to like the Curaçao, they'll play the Curaçao jingle.
Yeah, they don't play the living spaces jingle. They think they're above that. And they are not, or they shouldn't be.
Dude, I don't know what's up with like how they price the stuff. They literally price the things in La Curaçao as if you were at Mexico. It's like, why?
yeah, that's exactly how it is there.
Because like, yeah, games are super expensive in Mexico. Like it sucks for people that love video games because like they have to spend like maybe an extra $20 to $30 over MSRP, and that's how they price them here. Like they could literally just go like a couple streets over to Target, which is pretty close to there, and get it at like a normal price. But for some reason, I guess some people are forced to buy it there. I don't know.
Are they the ones that did the?
I don't know how they stay afloat.
Are they the ones that did the PS5 bundle that came with a gaming chair for like $1,400?
Yeah, they literally bundle everything. Like sometimes they'll include water bottles or like some random stuff.
That makes GameStop seem reasonable.
You want to know how they stay afloat? Because of their crazy APR on their credit cards.
Oh, interesting.
One of my favorite tweets when the George Floyd protests were happening was like, why are people burning down Targets and Walmarts? Can somebody go to like Curaçao so that they could burn down all the paper records for their credit cards? Yeah, I was about to say good times, but no, those George Floyd riots are not
Yeah, when
good
we're not in a
times.
pandemic, definitely check out that store. It's definitely worth just like doing like a little lap around, seeing the prices of things and how things are bundled, because it's gonna like boggle your mind if you've never seen anything like this. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
What was that place
It's
called?
crazy. La Curacao?
No, not like Curacao. I thought you were talking about the Camarillo, I think.
Oh, the other place. No. I mean, I'm also like saying it's also worth checking out La Curacao if you haven't before
This is
either.
such a
Like-
LA localized episode. I feel like we need to like, hey, if you want to get a donut that's like a little
I mean,
above
one
average,
of them,
there's
you're
Randy's.
checking it out for pleasure. This is more for like morbid curiosity.
You could go in and just have your mouth open
Yeah.
in disbelief at some of these
Oh,
prices.
close it right at the entrance because that's where the perfume section is, and they usually like to spray at you.
Yeah, that usually gives me a headache.
That's like Macy's. They do that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So what'd you buy, Kevin?
I bought a lot of computer stuff. I
Are
actually
you
will be
like enough to upgrade a computer or
not necessarily upgrade. I'm going to be moving.
RGBs? I see.
What happened? RGBs? No RGBs. I'm actually going to be moving some of the internal guts of my current gaming PC and putting it into a smaller case, an ITX build, which I've wanted to do for a while. I'm actually going to be live streaming it this upcoming Tuesday. YouTube.com/ I think Kevin Gomie, KVNGOMIE, I think.
You don't even know?
I don't know if it's like /user
Oh, yeah.
slash.
I think
yeah,
you're beyond
that kind of-
/user. I think you have enough subscribers.
Yeah, so I think just youtube.com/ KVNGOMIE. And I'll be doing a live build on Tuesday. I will be doing the one chip challenge tomorrow night, which I'm not looking forward to.
Godspeed.
I'm just looking at it right now on my desk with dread. Oh, what'd you buy, Angel, from Black Friday?
What did I buy? Let's see. I bought a Totoro blanket from Bluefin because that was on sale. It's just a nice like blanket you put on top. It's a little on the shorter end, but it looks really cool. Definitely don't have enough Ghibli stuff. I got an iPad stand, or a stand for tablets or phones that I thought was the exact same one I had bought in before. I thought it was just cheaper. I mean, I thought it was on sale because of the price, but it turns out it was just a smaller version of it. When I got it in the mail, it's like half the size, but it still holds up the iPad and the phone perfectly. I mean, just fine. So it still works out. Bought my Maya subscription for a year. It wasn't on sale, but
But you're in the spirit already.
I was just waiting for it today anyway.
You were
Just
treating
because I was
yourself.
getting, because I also just need it. But I mean, $260 a year to use Maya versus over 1,000 is definitely a really good deal. Yeah, and then also just got Creative Cloud, so I'm actually using that right now. It was on sale for Black Friday for like $30, but yeah,
Nice.
didn't spend too many things, but just some things I needed. I did need a blanket, but
No one got the
Very controlled.
$2 Hulu subscription for entire
I took advantage of the 99
that still
cent
seems
one,
like
so I
too
couldn't.
much.
$2
Also,
for
I-
Hulu? That's $24 a year for Hulu.
Good deal.
It's a great deal.
It was better 2
about
years
how
ago
much
when
I
it was
spent for
99
Crunchyroll.
cents a month.
You do not spend $24 a year on Crunchyroll.
I spend 30, I think it's 30 something bucks a year on Crunchyroll.
Jesus Christ, how? Isn't it like $6 a month? Oh,
Definitely not for me. I think it's because I grandfathered in. I don't know. I've been subscribing to them for a long time. I did get a survey like a year or two ago where it's pretty much asking me about like, oh, what if we did this monetization system? And it was like all their options were just like, nope, because it would have come out to like 70 or more a year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know what they ended up going with. Maybe they already made some changes, or maybe because I started with their old plan, maybe they're just letting me be for a while. But
Right.
maybe one day I'll be forced to change or something.
Yeah, they'll come for you. They always usually do. But before...
Attack on Titan soon.
Oh, that's right. Oh, last season. They're gonna FMA it, but we'll see how that turns out. But before we get to the usual rigmarole here, I want to start with a new
Rigmarole?
but small... Yeah.
Yeah,
Did I say that
rigmarole.
wrong?
It's a word.
Rigmarole?
I
I say it
heard
wrong?
rigor more.
Before we get to the rigor mortis of this episode, let's...
Before we get to the Rick and Morty of this episode.
Well, anyways, I just want to start a small segment where I just give us and you, audience, we love you, an update on our quarantine situation, as depressing as it may be.
It is changing that rapidly now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, as of the last episode, a curfew has been ordered in the state of California, basically saying that you shouldn't be out from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Newsom made it a limited 3-week event.
For now.
I say that
a
like
limited engagement. Limited time series.
Ooh, something to look forward to.
Los Angeles actually went a bit further with restaurants and bars needing to close at 10 p.m. for indoor dining. And to top it all off, it seems like we might be nearing a full lockdown.
We're there.
So, yeah. This podcast is just a part of our lives now.
Last night, they announced that retailers have a more limited capacity. Restaurants can't have anyone in them, which you were already saying, Kevin. And any gathering outside of your household is now not allowed. And they're enforcing it with, I don't know, pamphlets or something. Like, there's no, like, they're not going to actually enforce it with, like, police, but you're not supposed to gather with people outside your own household anymore for 3 weeks. At all.
Oh, no.
So.
Man, we are never going to be out of this pandemic.
Nope. It's, there's a tweet I saw that was someone saying, like, well, we got to retire the phrase avoid it like the plague, because clearly humans don't avoid plagues. So, yeah, which is true.
Yeah, so that's the quarantine situation, our namesake, unfortunately. For better and for worse. But I guess now we should move on.
But we hope all you out there are not in a situation where the virus is affecting you. Except maybe you're stuck at home and listening to us by choice or because you have nothing else to do. Either way, we'll take it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now we could move on to the fun stuff. Angel, were any first 4 figures available for Black Friday prices?
There weren't, but I did briefly want to talk about first 4 figures. And for those that have never heard of first 4 figures, we're not talking about the first 4 figures in a collection. This is just the name of a company. It's just called First 4 Figures. And yeah, they're mainly known for, I think actually, is it only video game statues? Do they ever do any like
I'm sure they do anime every now and then.
Yeah, I think their brand is gaming, but they might have gone beyond it.
Thinking about their website right now, like I can only think of gaming examples. I don't think they've done any anime ones. Oh no, they do. Because they did have a Cowboy Bebop one. They did have a Cowboy Bebop one.
And then looking at their website right now, they have a Guts statue, Guts from Berserk.
Oh, I thought you meant Guts like the Nickelodeon game show.
No,
that's from Kill la Kill, the dog, whose also his name is Guts.
Wow, we all thought very different things.
Yeah.
They also have Doctor Who, by the way.
Oh, and they also have an Alphonse Elric Brotherhood statue.
You go.
So there you go. They do a little bit of anime, mainly. Oh, and of course, they have an All Might.
Also, Transformers, Angel.
FMA.
$100. I might get this All Might actually. I shouldn't have gone to the website.
So these people are known for making overall like pretty good quality statues. Like a lot of people can vouch for them. They do this great thing where they design them in a way to be moved and transferred easily in case you have to move them around. Like almost all the appendages and pieces are magnetized. That way you can have swappable heads, but also, like as I mentioned, take them apart so that you can move them around easily without risk of breaking them, because, you know, you definitely don't want to break these things. But the reason I want to bring them up is because I finally got my first 4-figure statue courtesy of my brother Elvis for my birthday. And it's the one of Phoenix Wright, specifically from Ace Attorney 5, where he's pointing, yelling objection, and it does come with 2 really nice objection signs. Well, one says objection and one says take that. No, hold it. But this is like also, I guess, their Ultimate Edition version. There are essentially a ton of tiers, just, you know, for different price levels. You could literally just get Phoenix with one face, one pointing finger.
The price of this definitely screams Ultimate.
Yeah, like, and it just has like a normal base. But the one that I have, well, they're shipping him just the normal base, but mine came with a base with the pedestal on it. So it looks like, you know, he's standing behind his defense bench, and, you know, it comes with the additional signs, additional faces, and it just looks really awesome. And until I got my first statue, even the first 4-figure ones, and the reason I want to mention that is because they've had statues I've looked at for a long time that I'm like, oh, I really want to do it. I'm going to pull the trigger, but then I don't. Case in point, like the $600 Bowser one that they had not too long ago. That thing is huge. Would not fit anywhere. I can't think of anywhere it would fit. Actually, I guess I could put it next to my bed, and I guess it could look like a flashlight. I mean, a nightlight, because the fire is supposed to turn on. But
wait, so you all wake up and all you see is Bowser's face? Actually, that does sound like something you would want. Yeah, I'd take that back.
And unfortunately, a lot of reviews are saying that, and videos, because we've watched a few, that the light in the fireball doesn't always work, and it's always a shame. And what comes of that is something that I learned recently, which makes sense when you think about it, but all of these are numbered. Like, this Phoenix statue is only out of, it's less than 500. I forget what the number is, but I think my number is like 200 something. But anyway, let's say, actually, I'll just tell you the story from from someone I know that they told me. They had a Knuckles statue, and that Knuckles edition one that they had a light up base. The base, the light wasn't working. Just the light bulb was dead. They just needed a new light bulb. And when they called them up to ask them, like, oh, is there any way that you could just send me a new light bulb for it? And they're like, nope. We have to send you a brand new statue, and you have to destroy the old one. And then they're like, what?
Destroy the old one?
Destroy it?
Yeah, they have to destroy it. And they have to actually show photographical and video proof that they destroyed it. So they have to record themselves breaking the statue into pieces. And they were very specific about how big the pieces had to be for them to be considered destroyed.
Is it because they want to keep the limited quantities and they fear if people just request parts that then they're false advertising to the other 400, 500 people?
Exactly, because they're all numbered and they're very strict about their limitedness. So they want to make sure that there are only that number out in the wild so that they can confidently say, we only made 500, not 501.
Wouldn't it be easier just to send it back to them?
You would think.
You'd think so, because then they could repair it, but because every single one, I guess, has its identity, if they make any part of it, it's no longer like a true Knuckles 174. Like, because it has newer parts, I guess they want it to be all in one SKU. I don't know. Maybe it messes up some kind of data tracking.
Theoretically, replacing number 174 with an entirely new 174 is even worse by that logic.
Yeah, I don't know. But for whatever reason, like, they had to destroy it, and obviously, like, it's not the easiest thing ever, especially if it's a character you really like. But I'm sure it goes from horrible to fun pretty quickly once, like, it becomes a little unrecognizable. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I don't know, statue collecting, like, as from that friend that told me about his Knuckles statue experience, when he first started with First Four Figures, he only had, like, maybe just like that one, and then after getting that one, he got a second one, then a third one, and then now, like, when I look at like a video of his room, because he showed me like his collection, it's just walls and walls of just pure statues, and
it gets expensive real fast,
super fast.
Yeah, like, and they all look super. I mean, it looks like a super bomb, like, nerd heaven gallery. Like, he has like Street Fighter statues, anime statues, video game statues, and it almost kind of feels like my brother and I were kind of heading in that trajectory. Because for a while you kind of think like, oh, you want... Like, we went from just buying anything that had Ninja Turtles on it, like literally anything. Then we just bought like specific figures. Then we just bought the 4 Turtles. And then we're only getting high-end versions of the Turtles. And I don't know, it almost feels like for a while you think like, oh, why would I want a statue? It's just like one pose that it's kind of stuck in. But then you also remember that there are like some characters that you just want to see in just one iconic pose. I mean, like Phoenix, why would you want to really have him pose in any other way except pointing?
Yeah,
unless you're doing it for like comical reasons. So like for that, like a statue of Phoenix, like it makes perfect sense. And I freaking love it. And I have seen like turtle statues in the past that I would love to have, but they're so expensive. They're like almost like $800 or more each. Just because the ones that I saw in question were the 90s movie, the live action first Turtles movie, and they were by Sideshow Collectibles, and they were so detailed and they look so good. So you can imagine how
really expensive. Yeah,
and they were pretty big. Like they were maybe like over 3 feet. No, yeah, like about 2.5 to 3 feet tall each. So pretty huge statues. And, you know, because it's turtles, you have to get all 4, which already puts it in the thousands, like multiple thousands. So, yeah. So, sparingly right now, but...
Angel, I have this vision of you.
Man, it's just it's such a cool feeling just to be like... I feel like this age range that we're in right now, it's like... Or even if you're older by like 7-6 years, so pretty much like anyone that grew up with these like old properties, like, and where there were only like pretty crappy toys available, because at that point the shows and games like were made to sell toys. But nowadays, yeah, this is still a business where they're making a crap ton of statues. Just look at how many Sonic statues there are by First Four Figures, but they're all really cool. Like, I just love that we live in a period where the people making these statues, at least to some extent, are people that are making these statues that they wish they had when they were growing up. Like, we want these accurate, all-model toys. Like, I'm glad we finally have, like, turtle toys from NECA that actually look like they did in the 90s cartoon show. We never had that, like, to that accuracy until, like, 2 years ago. Let alone movie turtles that look just like they do in the films until like 2-3 years ago. Like we're finally getting like our dream figures and toys with the articulation we want, and it's crazy. And just, I don't know, definitely nerdy bliss. So
you know why I think it is? I think it's because they're becoming art. In the same way that, like in the same way that I have like a Takashi Murakami, like it's basically a bowling ball shaped thing of one of his like Mr. Dobb characters. For those who don't know, he's a Japanese like pop artist, but anyway, pop art artist. But anyway, the same way, like it's built the same way as what you're describing. It's like a resin based thing and yada yada. But yeah, it's just like as the things we grow up with,
super limited.
Yeah, and as the things we grow up with, you know, as we become adults, those things are what people are inspired to make, and then.
Yeah, you were in line for hours for that, and it was like $700 something, right?
For this? No, I got it online, but it was like $250.
The Murakami bowling ball thing?
It was like $200 or $350, but I got online. It was a virtual line.
What was the one you got at ComplexCon?
It was from ComplexCon, but I bought it it was when we were in line to go in, and I bought it virtually on the thing. Yeah, no, I wasn't carrying that around ComplexCon. I think it's heavy. but you know, the idea is like, and even his stuff, like that's very like not the type of art that would have been. It's inspired by like, you know, 90s mascots and cartoon characters and stuff. And it's very like, you know, just as that's what we grew up with, that's what we were exposed to. So that's what's now being turned into art. And essentially statues, I mean, you're referring to as highly articulate toys. I'd argue they're more art pieces that are just based on things from our youth more than toys that are like upgraded. You know what I mean? I mean, ultimately they're the same thing, but they're just different directions.
Thing. Jesus. Yeah. Can't believe anyone could even buy that.
I was going to say before, I have this weird vision of you, though, because First for Figures is a rabbit hole. Like, you're this guy, I have this vision that, like, 3 years from now, you're going to be sitting there like, well, there's this Bowser, or I can eat for the next 3 days. And you're going to be very torn. You're not going to know which to do.
For 3 days, for 3 years.
Yeah, seriously.
There's this really cool Batman Who Laughs statue. I think it's from Sideshow. That I was like, how much would that cost to give to a friend? Well, I guess I was in the situation. I looked at the price and I said, that's like an entire paycheck. I can't just, I can't do that.
The Sideshow stuff in particular is...
propose at that point.
Yeah.
The Sideshow stuff in particular, like I'm always amazed at their Comic-Con booth. Like the detail, the size, like the licenses they get.
Like no one really comes close to their like, I would say prestige. I would say they're definitely more well-rounded in that sense because you'll find, I guess they're less video gamey. So I guess you go to First for your game stuff, and you go to Sideshow for literally everything else. Yeah. And I mean literally everything else.
Literally. From Terminator to Star Wars to
so
like
many Iron Man.
Yeah,
Jesus,
to every
Marvel,
Iron Man
DC,
suit.
Back to the Future.
Every Spider-Man costume.
Star Wars. They have just about every Star Wars in like the 1/6 scale that they're pretty famous for. They're mainly famous for their. I mean, I was gonna say that they're more known for their 1/6 scale figures that are kind of posable because Obis has an Arkham Knight one that looks really really cool. They're like the statue game is also like crazy. I mean, they literally have like a 1-to-1 scale T1000 that you could buy.
Oh wow.
I mean, that's just the exoskeleton. Like,
with glowing eyes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we enter the raffle every year. We still haven't won it.
One day.
Well, except last year.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah.
You won a giant statue last year from Sideshow?
No, except this year.
Oh, we didn't enter last year. I was like, hold on.
Year.
Yeah, this year. Yeah. I was like, wait, where did you hide this Terminator this whole time?
Essentially, yeah, no matter, I guess, your price point, there is, I guess, a nice collectible for you at any, I would say most price ranges. There's like good compromises, but yeah, the collecting game just gets even more interesting, I guess. Yeah. The more disposable income you have, or not have. Some people will still get them anyway.
I was starting to head down that hole when I got the Blizzard started releasing statues of the Overwatch characters, and the first one that they released was Widowmaker. The Widowmaker one, I forgot how much it cost. I think it was like around $200. I have the Widowmaker statue.
Pretty big.
It's like really nice. Yeah,
you have it?
Yeah, they're all hand painted. Widowmaker, not Diva.
That's cool that they're hand painted.
As soon as the Diva one came out, I wanted it so bad, but it's $450, and that one's huge. And unfortunately, I don't have the space for it. I absolutely would buy that Diva one though. One of these days, as soon as I move out, I'm probably gonna start buying statues and go broke and not be able to pay rent. But
yeah, I would like to point out, moving out does come with added expenses, as I'm now learning. Who knew? So that strategy might not be sound.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll have to move some funds around and figure it out.
Well, I mean, the trip to Japan got pushed back probably another year, so if you're saving up for that, that could just go towards statues now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, ultimately, it's still happening though. So,
Probably, oh man, I remember. I forgot what. I'm pretty sure it was when we went to. Was it Akihabara? I don't think it was. Where is that? That Sega. That
Akihabara.
Is it Akihabara? I think one of the.
You're talking about the three-story Sega arcade, right?
Wait, what Sega place? Because there's a bunch. There was like one right near our hotel in Shinjuku.
The place that just recently got they removed the iconic Sega stuff.
Oh yeah, that's Akihabara.
Was it Akihabara?
I think.
One of the places.
I think so. Well, the one with the red escalators, right?
Yeah, the escalators.
Well,
yeah, I think that's Akihabara.
But there's also one just like a few blocks over from our hotel, like near the Pokemon Center.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the one near our hotel. Definitely not the one in Ikebukuro. I'm pretty sure it was Akihabara. There was a. Do you guys know? Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna have to censor this. Well, we'll talk afterwards. There's in Persona. There is a demon that is literally a dick, like on chariot wheels. It's like,
I think I know what you're talking
about.
They had the statue.
There was a statue of that,
and I was
Did you buy it?
And it looked really nice. It was like I wanted it so bad.
Spoke to Kevin.
How much was this?
I don't
vehicle?
remember. I think
this Richard Chariot,
60,000 yen. So what? $600 roughly.
That's up there. That's up there for a Richard Chariot.
All right, we found our episode title. Yeah, collectibles are insane. Statue collectibles.
That one. Your mom comes visit your place. What's that?
What's that? Oh, it's just a monster.
Mom, check out my collection, except that one.
That's my anger sculpted.
Yeah. So cool. First 4 figures.
Yeah.
There's an easier transition. Yeah, be careful. There's an easier transition I could have made regarding Spider-Man and Spider-Man statues, but
Sideshow does have a Spider-Man a Spider-Verse figure of Miles that I really wanted to get, but it's just too expensive. I ended up just going with there's a company called Sentinel that makes really cool posable figures, and I'm just going to get that Miles just because. Spider-Man, on the other hand, on the opposite end of statues, I do want to pose and bend, however, because it's Spider-Man. He's just so...
Yeah, you absolutely have to.
You want it to be super posable, and this figure looks awesome. It even comes with, removable... This sounds weird. It comes with removable clothing. Because Miles has both the hoodie and pants over his costume, and he also just has his costume. Yeah. So it's cool to have both options. You could do that famous upside down thing, or just use them for stop motion.
Yeah, that's danger stuff.
Yeah, Spider-Verse, Jesus, just playing like that the whole time is so crazy.
Just to string together what just happened here for people who are listening, right? So we're talking about figurines, and we're talking about how when we move into our own places, it's easy to collect figurines. And we're talking about how the first figurines we're getting are ones that you take the clothes off of, and one named Richard Chariot.
Richard Chariot.
Just think about that.
Yeah.
Just think about the scene you're setting here.
Well, Angel, thank you for that transition. So I have been replaying, or I've been playing nothing but Spider-Man games on the PS5. So Miles Morales was described as one of the visual and technical showcases of the PS5. So I was excited to play it, but I was debating whether I wanted to replay the 2018 Spider-Man game. Both these games developed by Insomniac.
Did you platinum it the first time around?
The first time around, no. So my feelings on that game back then were a bit muted, mainly because I think the actual gameplay part of it is a bit so-so. The swinging, I personally think, is the best swinging of any Spider-Man game. And there's a couple of them that have really bad swinging, and some that have really great swinging. This happens just to be the best one. And then no other game felt as good traversing New York as it did in that game. To the point where, you just didn't use the fast travel options.
I forgot about those. It's crazy. We'll have to play the first one, but yeah.
Doing the side activities, like finding Peter's old backpacks, or a nice diversion, little challenges here and there, those were cool. But where it fell a little for me was mainly in the combat. The combat wasn't revolutionary, it wasn't breaking any new ground, and mainly because the combat is very Batman Arkham inspired, as games now tend to be when it comes to hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, they're all like that.
Attack, dodge button, attack, dodge button.
Pretty much. I like to a specific rhythm, And then in the Spider-Man games, you'll use gadgets that Peter makes, like a web bomb or trip mine, to get your combo meter up, and then to do finishing moves. So it's serviceable, but when it came to the side missions, those were just okay. And as you're swinging around New York, there will be crimes that pop up. What's the word that people always use when it's not dynamic. Breath of the Wild had this term used a lot, where it's like, oh, this happened to me, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then other people would be like, oh, I had a different experience where this happened and this happened.
Isn't it dynamic?
It's
what you're talking about, where
dynamic.
basically you sort of shape how it like reactive. I know what you're trying to say. Like what you do determines how the game responds to, so everyone has a slightly different experience as a result.
Yeah, but I forgot. It's definitely not dynamic. Well, anyways, yeah. So early on, you'd have these crimes going on all around New York. Early on, they range from like just busting up a drug deal to stopping a police car chase. And as you went through the story, more evil factions would start to show up in New York, so that would add even more crimes. But the issue with that game, the first Spider-Man game, is that New York is split into different districts: Harlem, Chinatown, Hell's Kitchen, all that jazz. And then you would just be doing the same crimes over and over again, just in different districts. So, like, stopping a car chase is really cool the first time, but it starts getting tedious once you're 10, 20 hours into the game. You're like, oh, this is literally the same thing that I did at the beginning of the game. And then the side quests were also a little on the boring side. But what made that game great for me was the story. You play it as a 27-year-old Peter Parker, who at that point was Spider-Man for about 8 years. So no origin story.
Damn.
Yeah, he already had a rogues gallery that hates him, and he does a Spider-Man thing of quipping around when fighting them. And then like the supporting cast was filled with nothing but like great written characters. Mary Jane was awesome. J. Jonah Jameson, they turned into an Alex Jones podcaster. That was really fun.
Who's Alex Jones? I keep hearing that, but no one ever
Infowars.
explains it.
Infowars.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Infowars?
Infowars.
Infowars.
Honestly, I'm jealous that you're in a world where you don't know who Alex Jones is.
Oh,
I wish I was in that world.
Infowars doesn't.
Alex Jones
that's just what to look up, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, look it up.
It's not easy just to me. Oh, she's someone that
It's a he.
he's.
Just look it up. It gets political fast. Look it up.
Yeah. But like all the supporting characters in that game had like their own story arcs that you follow, and then there was enough twists and turns to keep you on like your heels. And there were parts in the story where you think to yourself, they might actually destroy a huge chunk of New York in this game. Which for like an open world game to make you think that they're about to get rid of like a huge percentage of the map, I think is pretty crazy. But I think that's just a testament to the writing. The writing in that game was incredible. So for that reason alone, I decided to replay the entire game on the PS5. And this time around, I actually platinumed it. I actually had a much better time playing. That was probably because I had already had so many hours on the PS4 versions that I already knew my footing around the combat and the swinging and traversing and stuff like that. So this playthrough definitely elevated from being a very good game to a great game in my mind. But like that being said, Miles Morales, I just finished the story. I still haven't done all the side stuff. But that Miles Morales just blows 2018's Spider-Man game out of the water.
I was like, it just blows.
No, they're just gonna stop there mid sentence. Just blows.
No, dude. It's so much better.
Everything they built up, trash.
No, man.
I heard it has a lot more personality because they're really leaning in on his background and heritage. And
Yeah,
everything.
absolutely.
Does that mean I'm gonna be disappointed in the first one because I played Miles first?
Yes, it's after
shorter.
playing,
I mean, I beat it in one session.
yeah, after playing Miles Morales, it might be a little hard to go back to Spider-Man. Unlike Spider-Man, this one is definitely felt like. Oh, so you played it as well, Angel, right?
Yeah, I just played Miles Morales. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, so this game feels a little bit more like an origin story, because even though Miles already knows how to swing and fight, he still has a lot to learn, pretty much. So the game takes place about a year after the events of the first Spider-Man game, and I don't know about you, Angel, but that intro is such a banger, like the opening mission. I played it 3 times.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was gonna be like pressed to skip it or want to skip it the second time around because I started a New Game Plus file to actually do everything, because I didn't do any side missions on the first time around except for the challenges to upgrade your base mobility and that kind of stuff. But yeah, the second time around it was still really cool, just running. Well, I don't know, it made Rhino interesting. I fought Rhino in the past before, like in Ultimate Spider-Man, which I really love that game, but I'm wondering if it still holds up. I just haven't played it in decades, but I thought that game was really, really fun. But Yeah, that Rhino mission was really cool. Definitely very set piecey.
I played it once at the PS5 has two modes that you can play. The performance mode, which you play at 60 frames, and then the fidelity mode, which you play at 30, but with like increased visual effects, improved visuals. But that one runs at 30. So I played it at 60 frames, and then as soon as I could, I restarted it and played it in the fidelity mode. And then once I was done with that, I played it again at the 60 frames mode, because that's how I want to play the rest of the game. But yeah, that opening mission is probably my favorite opening / intro to any game that I've ever played. Somebody made the comparison to me, is like, oh, is it better than the Last of Us intro? Which the Last of Us intro is great, but that one just makes you feel depressed. So yeah, and this had a smile. This gave me a smile on my face.
It is a cool intro. I mean, it was a really cool intro, but I don't know. I think it's kind of hard for a lot of games to beat the intro of God of War 3. Just because that one it just literally starts at a climax. You're like on top of a Titan, then you fight like Poseidon immediately after with the giant like water horses, and like the scale and everything is just like, whoa. I mean, I don't know, you could tell that, I don't know, it was just kind of nuts. But this one's so cool. I mean, like, I love that they threw in their Insomniac logo in the mall.
Oh yeah, that was a nice little touch. And then like once you're done with that intro,
Rhino in the first one? Is that a curiosity? Do you fight Rhino in the first game?
Yes, you do.
He doesn't. Was he? Hopefully, it was a very different fight, because that's the only thing I was kind of worried about. Like, I figured like you must have fought him in the first one, that it doesn't feel kind of like a rehashed boss.
Yeah, it definitely has a different mechanic on how you take him down. But like once that intro mission's done, they start playing this one song by Jaden Smith as you're like swinging, and I don't know, I felt that was incredibly hype. Like, you just finished this. It almost felt like a movie, kind of. Not exactly Into the Spider-Verse, but like as you're swinging around, you have this song that apparently a lot of Twitch streamers are getting DMCA'd for. So maybe don't stream this.
The I'm Ready song or whatever.
Yeah,
he put out for it. Yeah, they did a music video for it too.
Not that one. It's called On My Own. One?
Oh, okay, because they did a music video for one of those. Yeah. And I thought it was so weird because they mixed it with gameplay footage, and it's like, that's fine, I get that. But they had him on a rooftop in L.A. I'm like, why is he in L.A.? I mean, I get quarantine, but what? Like, it's New York. The identity of Spider-Man is New York. Why is he in L.A.?
I mean,
it's green screen that, guys. Come
maybe
on.
They were thinking that some people just wouldn't get just be like, oh yeah, that's New York.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I know my skylines.
Right. The story this time around is a much more personal one than Spider-Man's. The stakes aren't as high. You could argue that they're still pretty high, because spoiler alert, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that was enough time for you guys. Harlem is on the verge of getting destroyed. Just the north side of New York.
Thank you. I had no idea where that was.
Yeah. The story is way shorter, maybe about a fourth of Spider-Man's runtime, but I think it was just the right amount of time for a story this small. I don't know about you, Angel. Did it feel like a nice little compact experience?
That is a nice way to describe it. Like, it was definitely on the short side. Like, I mean, like, I beat it in one day, but I didn't feel like I needed more game. I was like, it was just really fun throughout, but it was definitely like, well, that's short, but I don't think I really said it like as a negative. Yeah. Like, it knew how long it needed to be. Because there's still plenty of game to play, so just like, yeah.
Yeah, and of that game to play, the gameplay side of things, I think, is what saw the improvement over 2018 Spider-Man. Starting with just Miles himself, it definitely feels like you are playing a different character, and not just like a Peter Parker reskin. The way that Miles swings is completely different. The way that he does self takedowns is completely different. The way that he just fights in general is completely different. You're still doing the same inputs, but Miles just has his own spin, his own flavor into like the combat. So
is there like an equivalent to the Venom punches? Because, holding L1, like, as you do electrical punches.
No, there is no equivalent to the Venom punches, and that's what definitely sets Miles apart from Peter.
I'm guessing no invisibility either.
Yeah, no invisibility either. In Miles Morales, you tap A on the D-pad and you camouflage. In Spider-Man, you just bring up your camera. So, yeah, so.
A little anticlimactic. Well, I guess it goes the other way. I was going to say a little anticlimactic, but I guess that one came first.
Yeah, exactly. If you've seen Into the Spider-Verse, you might know what we're talking about, where, there's that scene where Miles turns invisible,
Yep.
He has that like little stinger ability that he uses against Kingpin at the end of the movie. That's
the Venom Punch.
Yeah, the Venom Punch, or the Stinger Punch, or Venom Stinger, whatever they call it. Those are brought into this game pretty seamlessly, and they definitely add a new fun layer to the combat. The open world stuff also saw a much bigger upgrade. The game takes place during Christmas week, so New York is covered in snow, and it looks really nice, but the crimes and side quests are now accessed via Miles' phone. So while you're swinging around, you still get like a notification on the map saying, oh, there's a crime nearby. But you can actually access all crimes via his phone, and you can even redo them to get tokens to upgrade your gadgets and suits and stuff like that. And unlike the same 20 crimes that you'll do over and over again in Spider-Man, here the crimes are a little bit less generic this time around. You didn't do much of the crime stuff then, right, Angel?
I did a few. I don't know how many different ones I've seen, but the one I've been running into the most is the one where there are criminals trying to break into a car, and there's like a meter that's building up as they're breaking into the car, and you have to keep hitting them out of the way.
Yeah, so that's way more creative than anything that they did in Spider-Man, honestly. Even the side quests this time around are a little bit more engaging. I don't know. I think Insomniac improved like every facet that they could, and they struck gold with this one, honestly.
Did you do Cat's Pajamas already?
Yes. And I think you could only do that in New Game Plus.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure, because I must have completely skipped it the first time around then. But yeah, I started up my New Game Plus file, so I'm going to be doing like all the side stuff so I could get the platinum in this game. Definitely a Game of the Year contender for me, but I don't know, Hades is going to be tough to beat, honestly. And, yeah, I loved it. I loved Miles Morales. I really, really like Spider-Man. I really love Miles Morales. And like we talked about, there is an Into the Spider-Verse suit that drops his frame rate.
It looks so cool. It looks so cool.
You could use that frame rate dropping ability because it is an ability you attach to the suit. It's not part of the suit.
Yeah.
So you can also like use the suit without it, and it'll just look kind of weird because we're used to seeing it not animated that way. But it was also kind of fun putting that a modifier to other suits just to see like what the modern Miles suit looks like when you're moving at that frame rate, and it does look pretty cool. It ends up looking like stop motion.
Yeah, I do like that they also changed the model completely on Into the Spider-Verse suit.
Oh yeah, the proportions are different.
Yeah,
it looks weird when he takes the mask off though.
Oh really? Oh, I haven't seen that.
Because then it looks like he has like a normal sized head with like a kind of scrawnier body. So it's like,
wow, I need to check that out. That sounds hilarious. There's like nice little touches. Oh, and then it sets up the sequel or whatever they decide to call the next Spider-Man game.
I mean, I'm guessing this one will probably be like you'll get to control Spider-Man and Miles at the same time to, I guess, give you even more variety. Which means I'll probably have to add more things to Spider-Man to catch up to Miles. But
yeah, exactly. Even Peter in the game early on says like, "Oh man, I'm pretty jealous of your abilities." So I don't know what they'll add to Peter.
Straight up better Spider-Man abilities wise.
Unless they decide to bring in the symbiote suit and somehow give that to Peter and have him access that. So that might be cool.
That would be interesting. Yeah. Use that PS5 technology to make it all oozy and cool looking.
Ooh, yeah, that does sound pretty good.
The ray tracing on that ooze.
I mean, I don't know if you played Ultimate Spider-Man, but I have to remember like that game really funny because you could play as Venom, and instead of swinging, you could hold the R button to just like jump ridiculously high. You could literally jump over buildings.
It was like a Hulk game, if I remember correctly,
he was pretty much the Hulk.
Yeah.
And you could just like jump around, and like he'll still have like tendrils that he'll like grab opponents and he'll just like absorb them into a body, and then you just kill them that way, which is really cool. It was a very interesting way to kill people because you felt like the overpowered monster. I don't know. Ultimate Spider-Man and Hulk Ultimate Destruction were ridiculously fun games. Hopefully,
Ultimate Destruction. Who were the devs? Oh, those guys made
it. Was yes, it was
Radical?
Free Radical. No, was
Free Radical?
Was it Free Radical?
Was it?
I'm looking it up. I think it was Free Radical, and I think they also Radical Entertainment. There we go. Free Radical.
That was a really fun Hulk game.
It was Radical Entertainment.
Radical Entertainment. Okay.
Who also did, if you're curious. Nothing like look it up Wikipedia on a podcast. They also did such hits as Power Pigs of the Dark Age for the Super Nintendo and a bunch of NBA games.
They did
Simpsons Road Rage. That was them.
No, Simpsons. Yeah, but they also did Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yeah, and Crash Mind Over Mutant.
I wonder how a remaster of Hit and Run would fare. nowadays.
I think they'd have to add a few more things.
They'd have to add so much.
Yeah.
They'd have to add so much. Because the game was really, like, it was, open world-esque, but it was very bare bones compared to what's considered acceptable now.
Yeah, true. True.
And it worked for it because Simpsons is like a simple world because it's cartoon.
I think the Hulk one would actually work well with it.
The Hulk one would be really good now.
Yeah.
So that was Spider-Man. Do you have anything else to add to Spider-Man, Angel?
Well, I mean, I played it on PS4 and it still looked really pretty, so I can only imagine what it looked like on PS5.
Yeah, it's a great looking game.
Because I didn't get when I was playing as Miles in his Spider-Verse costume, I didn't get the onomatopoeia, like comic book sound effects. Like, they don't come out on the PS4, it seems.
Oh, they don't?
When I punch a kick, no.
I think that should be like a suit mod that you can add to it as well.
Oh, that's like a separate suit mod?
Yeah. So you know how there's like two sets? There's the visor and then whatever it is
right in the other one?
Yeah.
Oh,
it should
I guess I have to check that out.
Yeah.
Oh, this time I thought it just wasn't part of it. But yeah, I mean, even on the PS4, like, it looked really, really good. So if you only have a PS4, I wouldn't say you need to wait to play it. And besides, don't you get like a free upgrade if you do anyway? Yeah,
if you buy it on PS4, you get the PS5 upgrade whenever you do decide to jump over. And I believe your save also carries over.
There you go.
There you go. Play them. Play these games. They're great. And that being said, I don't know if it's been great or not, but Jason, talk to us a little bit about Mandalorian season 2. Disney
property. Let's just keep going down the Disney hierarchy here. Am I the only one that's been watching Mandalorian? Have you guys watched any of either season?
I actually started watching it in another timeline, so I'll talk about it.
So you have not been. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not a huge Star Wars guy.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest. Like, I enjoy the movies. I haven't watched the animated series. I haven't read the books. I haven't played much of the games. But yeah, I don't know. Like,
I recommended it to me, which says a lot considering he's very much also not a Star Wars guy.
He recommended the Mandalorian, really?
Because he was hanging out with my sister and brother-in-law, and I guess they were watching an episode, and he was just really impressed, he said, by the production values that he might actually check it out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because here's the thing about it. Like, we never talked about
Did it feel like a legitimate, like a movie or something?
It does at times. There's times it definitely feels a little cheap, because they have... First of all, they have crazy technology to film this thing. So what they did is they built on a soundstage a 360-degree screen, and they filmed the majority of the outdoor stuff on this screen. And the screen can move, obviously, and animate stuff, and then the characters can be on like moving walkways and runways and stuff. So basically, they are simulating the real lighting effects of real environments they would have to go out to or build, or plants that don't exist. And they're having it reflect off like the Mandalorian's like costume and, the armor and everything, but it's all like on a soundstage. So it's this really interesting thing where it's like super high production value, but sometimes you can kind of be like, oh yeah, that looks kind of like a screen behind him. But more often than not, it really looks really good. And then like the CG and like the space fighting and when they do chases on the planets and all the CG looks, the monsters, the aliens, they all look really good. Like it's definitely a high budget production for sure. But yeah, I guess since we never talked about it last year, I think part of the reason that Elvis may like it, or at least that someone that doesn't traditionally care a ton about Star Wars may like it, is because it's not really like it is and it isn't Star Wars. It's like
it's set in the universe, but doesn't follow any of the old lore, I guess.
Well, kind of. So it's like a Western inspired Monster of the Week type of show that weaves in a bunch of Star Wars tropes. So like traditionally, I prefer shows that have like a more not overarching story, but more like each episode you have to watch the last one. It's like this whole,
Jason doesn't like to invest his time into too many things, so something that doesn't require him to have prior knowledge is definitely advantageous for his mind.
Well, you're saying the opposite of what I'm saying, because I'm saying normally I prefer shows where I do have to pay attention to every single episode fully versus ones that are like a Monster of the Week type of thing where there's an overarching plot, but if you miss a show here or there, you're not going to be totally clueless what's going on. I'm actually saying the opposite of what you're saying, Angel. But
you like to be totally clueless?
No. I'm saying you're saying I don't have much time, so theoretically that would mean I prefer a Monster of the Week type of show. I'm saying the opposite. But that said, with Mandalorian, I do actually like the format because it's kind of a throwback in style to like an old Western. So he goes to different places. And instead of going from like town to town as a bounty hunter and then helping out the townsfolk or getting in a fight or what have you, he's going planet to planet and he's trying to sort of figure out Baby Yoda's background. That's the very basic of it. But what's cool is how it does weave in like Star Wars tropes. There little things like even how they transition between scenes, or like how there's always that shot of a ship flying past a guard tower, you know, when they get to a new planet. Like, they even get those little things in there. And it's fun because, like, well, I guess I should explain why I'm talking about it right now, because we're in the middle of season 2, right? So season 1 was that setup, and you just kind of ride it out. Season 2, episode 5 came out on Thanksgiving, so we're now halfway through season 2, and I'm noticing, like, you could tell how popular it is, because, like, there's some things that are more, that it's bigger, and there's some things that are better, and there's some things that are worse. So I think, like, the Western format and the kind of Monster of the Week vibe and the production values are what make it really good if you're just like tuning in for the first time. But as someone who's been watching the series, what I like is I'm starting to pick up on these patterns of what they're doing. Like, yes, there is some weaving in of Star Wars stuff, but it's really cool because they're doing new world building and introducing new species and things like that. And it's constantly, much like an old Western, you know, it's always a different thing every time. So yes, there's an overarching story of how do you find Baby Yoda, and there's a Monster of the Week and all that, but like, or not how's he find, where's Baby Yoda go, and, you know, Monster Week and all that, but also, like, you're getting these little slices of Star Wars that you may recognize from a movie or you may not recognize, and they all kind of fit together like a little puzzle, and it's kind of cool just to see them sort of explore new aspects of that universe in a way that's not, like, too, you need to know everything about Star Wars to appreciate it. You can just be like, oh, that's a cool looking alien, or whatever. But, it does, on a high level, fair warning, if you guys decide to start watching, at times, because of Mandalorian's bulky armor, it does kind of feel like you're watching, like, Star Wars Power Rangers, like some of the combat. Like, it has kind of that weird, like, you know what I mean, combat from Power Rangers, but overall, I think it's
clearly
cool.
Dodging each other's attacks.
Not so much that, but just like the idea of, like, the, like, big bulky thing, like trying to do slick fighting moves.
Yeah, I was never a fan of Mondo's his armor.
I mean, it's interesting because the whole series, honestly, like, even if you're not a fan of it initially, I mean, yeah, that's what it looks like. Especially when they zoom in on his helmet, and it's just like, obviously he has no face, but they're trying to make like emotional impact. It is a little wonky. But what's really interesting about season 1, that's continuing a little with season 2, but not as much, is they upgrade his armor throughout the season. It's very much a video game structure. He goes to a place, he completes a mission, he gets an upgrade. He goes to another place, he completes a mission, he gets an upgrade, with this end goal that you still have to do along the way. So, like, by the end of season 1, he has a jetpack. And, like, you know, they give him, like, different armor pieces and different, like, shoulder pads and stuff, and it does sort of change the look of him. But yeah, if you're watching it, you're like, this guy looks like the Knights Who Say Knee from Monty Python or something, he will throughout, and you can't shake that feeling. Like, it's definitely a little weird if you don't like the suit, because that's all you see. But what was interesting is, like, so season 1 was, you know, just kind of that fetch quest video game structure. Season 2, they're actually starting to, like, broaden it out into more Star Wars-y things, which is both good and bad.
No.
Yeah, that's kind of my fear. So on the one hand, the set pieces are bigger. There's more Star Wars-y combat. You know, they're also, like, playing with the theming a bit more. So, like, the first episode of the season was, like, super Western-y, and then you know, this week they actually kind of did, like, inspiration from classic samurai movies. So, like, the planet they go to and, like, the showdown that unfolded, and the art direction was all set in this kind of, like, feudal Japan, but with, like, an alien spin. So, like, they're having fun with it, but it's definitely, like, it feels like they're starting to really layer Star Wars on top. Like, you can also get a sense of Disney's, like, money-hungry ways creeping in. I mean, first of all, before we even get to the Star Wars specific stuff, the money-hungry thing most notable is Baby Yoda, right? Like, he's a bona fide merchandising hit. And he's great in it, but they're spending, like, it's great. He's always adorable, but they're spending so much time focusing, like, look, here he is eating cookies. Here he is swinging his arms like crazy in the ship while Mando does a crazy maneuver, like he's on a roller coaster. Here he is, like, adorably committing genocide by eating the last egg of a species. And you're like, oh, he's committing genocide. Cute. And, like, they're making merch off that. Like, you could literally buy a Funko Pop of him committing genocide. And it's just kind of like, it feels a little forced now. Like, I love Baby Yoda, but it's starting to feel a little forced. But then the way they kind of, like, connect it back to other Star Wars is definitely starting to stick out. It's like, oh boy, here we go, connected world. And on the one hand, there's good to be had.
I know they made
like,
a reference to Life Day, which is a thing only in the Star Wars Christmas thing.
That to me is, like, good fan service, because it was low key. It was a single sentence, throwaway sentence. Like, I thought that was kind of cool.
I
and
mean,
honestly,
I
the
think that
stuff
part destroyed fans because now they have to acknowledge that movie as canon. But yeah,
well, and they made a new holiday special out of Legos. That Lego holiday special that just came up on Disney Plus a couple weeks ago. So that you could argue was them going, oh, we can make the throwaway line and look, we can monetize it. But the one I'm thinking of, and again, it could be good or bad, is they are bringing in the animated series, which, a lot of people are really excited to see these animated characters get live action interpretations. It's both Bo-Katan, I think is how I say it, who is played in the live action and the animated series by Katie Sackhoff of Battlestar. So that was kind of cool to see her. But it's Bo-Katan and then Ahsoka Tano, who is like the main character from Rebels and Clone Wars. And
Clone Wars. I think she made a cameo in Rebels.
The orange person, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the orange person. And now she's played by Rosario Dawson, which, she was great in it. But it seemed like first of all, it's amazing fan service for people who love the... Rosario Dawson plays her in the series. Yeah.
Okay.
In Mandalorian. Actually, honestly, the casting in this show is so interesting to me because they're like low key getting a bunch of comedians and sneaking them in there. Like season 1 had Amy Sedaris, it had Jason Sudeikis, it had Adam Pally, it had Bill Burr. Season 2 had Horatio Sands. He's not really a comedian, but Timothy Oliphant plays like basically the sheriff of the town in the first episode of season 2.
Now I gotta see this show. I love Timothy Oliphant.
It's like a perfect casting choice, honestly. But no, it's like really interesting how they're getting all these like people that are just like maybe fans of the franchise or whatever to be in the show in these kind of like subtle ways. Like Sudeikis and Adam Pally were like 2 stormtroopers that have like a couple minutes. And that's it.
He's not a comedian, but Werner Herzog was like
he's in it too. I forgot about that. He was in season 1. He hasn't been back yet, but he is in season 1. They also got Gus from Breaking Bad. That's his name.
Yeah,
Gus.
Giancarlo Esposito, I think.
Yes, he's the big bad. But yeah, like it's really interesting casting. And then like Carl Weathers is in it. He actually directed one of the episodes this season.
Oh, wow.
Like it's very like the casting alone is very interesting. Just see these people do these roles they don't typically do. Like it's kind of cool. But anyway, I got a tangent.
Going back to Jason Sudeikis and who else?
Yes. Adam Pally or however you say his name, from Happy Endings, among other things.
They made the Stormtroopers have terrible aim canon, right?
I think they did a long time ago. They certainly have terrible aim in the show, which I have pointed out multiple times when watching it.
They try to shoot the child point blank.
Yeah.
And like they miss. Which I thought was pretty
also a pretty funny story about that is, so I guess Jason Sudeikis, when they were improvising what to do, he at one point punches the bag that Baby Yoda's in.
Right.
And he forgot he did that. And then fast forward to the show airing however many months later, and his wife, Olivia Wilde, like comes in to wherever he is, and she's holding up her phone. She's like, "Why did you punch Baby Yoda?" And he's like, "I wouldn't punch Baby Yoda. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "You punched Baby Yoda," and like shows him the footage. He's like, "Oh my god, I punched Baby Yoda." Because like at the time, like it wasn't a big deal. No one really knew who or what Baby Yoda was, but then he felt horrible. But yeah, he was telling that on Conan a couple months ago. But
Richard Ayoade is in this too.
I'm telling you, it's like a crazy cast.
Jesus.
And
Bill Burr is in this show too. I'm gonna have to start watching this show. I don't like Star Wars.
Yeah, no, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars. That's my point. It's like a Western Monster of the Week show that just is overlaid with Star Wars and has like little nods. At least season 1 was like, it definitely has references and stuff. Right. And season 2 still has some subtle ones. Like one I really liked that was pretty subtle was in that first episode of season 2, they're on speeders going wherever, and they're on Tatooine. They're on Tatooine, but on like not where Luke is from. But one of the speeders has a retrofitted pod racing engine on it, like a junked pod racing engine, right, which they never acknowledge, they never address. It's just on the speeder, and it's like little things like that. It's like if you're a big fan, it's like, oh, that's actually kind of cool, or like things like that. But with season 2, what I was trying to say is they're really blatantly starting to bring things in. And if you're a fan of the animated series, which like a lot of people love Clone Wars and Rebels, they're kind of been they're canon, but they've been kind of the black sheep in terms of like, will they ever get the proper recognition among like Disney? I feel like they're thrilled because those 2 characters I just mentioned are in it and are like central to it. Right. And it's probably in part because Dave Filoni, who's in charge of those animated series, is also, along with Jon Favreau, in charge of The Mandalorian. So he basically backdoored his characters into the show. Yeah. And Disney's like, yeah, whatever. But and to be clear, like it oozes fan service when they do it. Like it doesn't. They play them up in such a way in the show that they're like, oh, this is a big deal that this person's here, even if you don't fully understand why it's a big deal. Like for Ahsoka Tano, they like do this whole crazy thing where she's just like slicing people left and right with her dual lightsabers, and you're just like, all right, this is like, here's this badass Jedi we're introducing to you. You probably know who she is. If so, look at how badass she is. If you don't know who she is, well, you're now getting to know that she's a bad. Like they do it in a way that like I could see if I understood what it meant, how exciting it would be as fan service. On the other side of that, the downside of that is again, maybe because I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan here, but it feels like you can see them shoehorning in a broader world that they want to do. Like, there are multiple episodes that have these sort of like backdoor pilot feel, like the one with Ahsoka. Like, she name drops I don't want to spoil too much here. She name drops another character from Clone Wars and is talking about going off to find that person. It's like, well, why are you going to randomly say that in a show that's not about this character unless they're planning to do a spin-off series? Or like the episode before that, there's this mercenary named Cara Dune who, she was in season 1. She comes back in season 2 for an episode, at least so far. And at the end of the episode, she's like, oh, she's the marshal of the town, whatever. And then like some, New Republic guy's like, hey, if you want to like go on this other adventure and help us with this thing, like, here's my card. It's like, that has no bearing on the real plot of the show. Like, it's clearly that they're just like trying to like franchise it out, and it just feels a little like forced at times. And it's just kind of, you get that feeling that there's a lot, Disney's putting a lot more money into this and is hoping to get a lot more money out of this. And while season 1 was just kind of like, oh, it's like a fun Western in Star Wars, this one's, there's so many like, we're gonna Avengers this, like, sit tight. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of
sounds like a threat.
A little, yeah. Because I mean, the last time they tried that, Star Wars got oversaturated in movie theaters, and now they backed off doing movies for a while. And, it led to fans having very divided opinions on stuff like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Still haven't seen Solo.
I kind of like Solo. It's not great, but like I prefer Rogue One for sure.
Yeah.
If we're talking spin-offs, but
Rogue
Solo's not bad. Rogue One's amazing.
Rogue One has a lot of problems, but I genuinely love that movie. I don't like the sequel trilogy. I think I was one of the few people within our group that said I didn't like Force Awakens, and some of you guys called me crazy. Or maybe that was...
I really like Force Awakens, honestly. I think there's a nostalgia factor.
Yeah, a
lot of the guys didn't like it in the group. I will say, I should be fair in the same way you're being Mandalorian here. Like, these things where it's like, oh, they're clearly bringing someone in just to spin them off. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, there's way more gratuitous Baby Yoda shots. It's not that big of a deal. It's still a very enjoyable show, and like, there's definitely like the pros outweigh the cons. Like, they're doing some cool fan service. I forgot to mention, like, in the second episode this season, they bring in these weird, massive spider creatures, which it turns out were in the original concept art for the original Star Wars, but were never put into the movies. So they're like digging deep into the archives to find like Star Wars references.
Desperate for ideas or what?
I think because it's supposed to be a throwback. I mean, they could have made any spider creature, but they went with the design from, the original concept art. So I thought that was kind of cool. And they keep
giant spiders such a...
I don't know.
They're such a thing. So
they're such a trope.
So, there's such a thing.
Do you guys remember the movie Wild Wild West?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the giant mechanical spider?
Other character.
Yeah, giant spiders are a thing. Yeah.
So apparently that giant mechanical spider was supposed to be in a Superman movie directed by Kevin Smith, and because like the producer of Kevin Smith's Superman movie really wanted a giant mechanical spider in it, and then Kevin Smith's movie. His Superman movie never came out. So the producer then decided to make Wild Wild West with the giant mechanical spider as the like centerpiece of that movie. Literally, Wild Wild West was literally only made for that giant mechanical spider.
That's really funny. And it ended up being such a big hit. So I guess that guy's right about giant mechanical spiders.
Was it a big hit? Because I don't remember it getting a sequel.
I remember it doing... Wild
Wild West.
I'm pretty sure it made some money. It was like...
It made $50 million more than it cost to make.
Okay, not a big hit. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. And the producer, co-produced by Barry Sonnenfeld, who I'm assuming is Mr. Spider. But
probably. Yeah. No.
But
maybe.
But I do think, like, to go back to Mandalorian for a sec, I do think... Again, those are kind of nitpicks. They're just, if you watch season 1, season 2, they sort of pop out to you. But overall, the show's still a lot of fun. I would recommend it. It's like a nice, especially right now, there's not a ton of like big production new shows coming out because we had the quarantine and everything. It's kind of nice to have something like this. Plus, they like keep introducing cool little characters. There's this frog lady. Like, everyone's freaking out about the animated characters. I like this frog lady. So in one episode, there's this lady who is a frog. Like, literally, she's just a frog wearing like clothes, and she has this kind of feminine thing, and Mando has to help her get her eggs. She's the one that Baby Yoda commits genocide two almost. She's the last of her species or whatever, and has to get her eggs to her husband on a different planet so they can have their kids and keep the species going. And the eggs are in like a container, and she's just like on the scale of like space amphibians, she's very close to Slippy. Not that she's annoying, but like basically she's worthless and just constantly needs your help. But she's just this lady, and she's like this like really well designed frog lady. Well, Slippy's a man frog, a male frog, a man frog.
And useless.
Yeah, he is pretty useless, and she's pretty useless too. And she does the same sort of silly stuff as Slippy, where like they, without spoiling too much, are on a planet, and she ends up deciding to go to a hot spring to keep her eggs warm, I guess. I don't know. And she just wanders off and doesn't tell Mando, and I was just like, yeah, that's like when Slippy's like, I'm gonna go shoot this thing, and then just like never comes back until he radios you, like, I'm about to die, come rescue me.
Oh, it sucks for you, Slippy. I wish that was the thing that we could have just done.
But, like, Frogley, like, everyone's focused on these other characters, but Frogley and her frog husband seem like very fine frog people, very nice people. But, and things like that, they're just constantly, and that's not a cheap thing. That was a fully CG character they made that looked like a frog person. So yeah, I don't know. It's just like there's always these little things they do and all these little like world building things. Like there was never a frog species before, I don't think, and now there is. So like even stuff like that. Like it's just a fun show. Right. So, if you could get over the slight money grabbiness of season 2, it's still a very fun show. And I know for fans who watch the animated series, it's a huge deal that they brought in those characters, even if it is for kind of building a connected world and all that. Which, I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm kind of okay with sometimes shows or movies not always connecting back to their source material directly. Like, I don't know why we can't have like a slice of some other part of life in a universe. Because, like, this one's now, like, setting up to be like, oh, well, this is connected to that, and this character's from this show, and maybe Boba Fett pops up as a rumor, and it's just like, why is Boba Fett to be in this? There could be multiple bounty hunters. Like, why weave it all together? Because I think that was one of the downfalls of the new trilogy, honestly, is they tried, the whole, like, who is Rey, and the tie-ins. It's just like, I understand it's the Skywalker lineage, but, like, all the time, there's so many tie-ins, everything tied in. You can't have one thing that was just circumstantial or one thing that is just some other person with some other background. It all had to connect.
I feel like that kind of stuff where it's set in this universe, but that doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily connected towards any other part of the property, are usually reserved for like comedic shows. So like you had that Star Trek show that just aired on CBS.
Under Deck.
Lower Decks, yeah.
Or Lower Decks, yeah.
Lower Decks. There was a planned Star Wars show like this from Seth Green, the Robot Chicken guys, called Star Wars Detours, I think. Mm-hmm. And then you also had Marvel really wanted to do a property was it property damage? Or damage control, which would have taken place in the MCU, but not really be connected to it. Like,
oh, right. DC did something similar with Powerless on NBC.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of stuff is usually always reserved for the comedic shows, which...
I guess it just feels like... So, like, Season 1 Mandalorian, because it is so, like, carved out as, like, a Monster of the Week thing. Yes, Baby Yoda's there, but you don't know if it's the species. It could just be the species, like, what's going on there. But, like, they kept it kind of isolated with nods to other stuff going on. Like, they'll reference, the fall of the Empire and everything. But it was kind of like a self-contained little thing. And then now they're just... I think because they did that so well for, 10 episodes. And now for these next 8, they're now, like... not retconning it, but they're like plugging in all these things that don't need to be plugged in. It just feels a little forced to me, but it is still very enjoyable, and it still has that kind of Monster of the Week vibe. So yeah, if you've never watched it, I recommend it. If you like season 1, season 2 is just more of that, and then, money making schemes on top. So that's The Mandalorian.
Seeing as how I'm going to have to start paying for Hulu full price again because I can't take advantage of the Black Friday stuff.
Just do the bundle.
Yeah, I might as well do the bundle with Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus.
Or if you have Verizon, you can get Disney Plus for free with certain plans. And Hulu for free, actually.
I do not have Verizon. I am a T-Mobile guy.
Let me tell you, if you sign up... No, we're not sponsored. I'm going to stop there.
Why can't we get sponsored yet?
We should get sponsored so I could pay for some stuff.
Jason, make it happen.
Okay, I'll call up Verizon. I'll call up customer service and be like, "Hey, can you sponsor our Can you sponsor our Quarantine Chronicles?" And
hey, man, if it works, it works.
If it works, it works.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Cool. There's no easy way to segue into this. I finally got a chance to watch Bong Joon-ho's sophomore film, Memories of Murder, which was finally released in HD. I think we planned on seeing this once, but then I told you guys that
We did.
it was like, oh, it's only available in 480p, so we ended up watching The Host. Do you guys remember that?
Sounds right. Yeah. I
That
remember watching
sounds
The Host.
familiar. Yes.
Oh, and it took forever for us to find the Korean version with English subtitles. That was a pain.
Yeah.
But anyways, for those who don't know, Bong Joon-ho is a Korean director, most known for directing movies like Snowpiercer, The Host, and Okja. And he also directed a little movie called Parasite. Wasn't anything special. It only cleaned up the Academy Awards last year. And
This year. It's still 2020.
I guess. And one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie. I even sprung for the Criterion 4K Blu-ray release that came out recently. I know
With some really clever packaging.
Yeah.
That packaging. Like, I don't want to spoil the movie, but if you've seen the movie, that packaging is super clever.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's one of my treasured possessions. My niece got near it. I was like, no, you aren't getting near this thing because you will destroy it. What about you guys? Of Bong Joon-ho's movies that you've seen, which ones of them do you actually like? What do you think of them?
I mean, I've seen Parasite and The Host and part of Snowpiercer. Definitely love both of those previous films. I mean, I liked Parasite enough to buy it on Blu-ray as soon as I was able to. And by that, I mean, I had a feeling I was going to like it, so I bought it on Blu-ray without having seen it, and then I watched it. And I did love it, so it was very justified.
Right.
Yeah, Parasite I liked a lot. I think going into it, because of how much hype it had when it was still in theaters, like, I went in not knowing what to expect, but I thought it was going to be like way crazy, and it was crazy, but it wasn't way crazy. It was like Tarantino crazy. So when it came out, I was just like, that was good, but I don't know what I was expecting. Like, I got, like, the word of mouth was too strong almost, but it was, as I sat on it longer and sort of let it, like, marinate over me, it is a very good movie. Yeah. I think just people put the expectations really high. In terms of what sort of crazy quote unquote happens. But yeah, that I saw, The Host we all watched. Snowpiercer was the first one of his I saw, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. I watched it on an airplane, not expecting anything. I'm like, oh, a train that never ends, okay. But, it was actually really good. Yeah, so, I like his stuff. I need to watch more of his stuff, to be honest.
Yeah,
but maybe this is the next one I should watch.
Oh, so... All right, so Parasite
or not? Was that a bad setup?
Okay, so when it comes to hype, and I'll bring this up. I mean, Parasite's probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Probably, absolutely my favorite of Bong Joon-ho's movies. I think all those other movies that we talked about are also great. But with Memories of Murder, it's apparently considered one of Korea's best movies of all time. So yeah, I went into this with a lot of hype. So it is with sadness that I have to say that it definitely didn't live up to the hype.
You got parasited.
I got parasited. But that being said, I still think this movie's pretty great. So it takes place in the late 80s and is based on apparently the first known serial murders in Korea. I guess in its recorded history. It's not set in a like metropolitan Korean city. It's set in this like sleepy countryside town. If anybody's played Persona 4, it definitely gives you vibes of that town that you play in. You played a little bit of Persona 4, right, Angel?
Very little, but yeah.
You sound like a ghost.
Very little.
Like very.
Oh, so little. So little.
This movie follows a local detective played by Song Kang-ho, who's one of Bong's recurring collaborators / actors. That you guys would know as the father of the poor family in Parasite.
Yes, and he was on the train in Snowpiercer.
Yeah, and he was one of the main characters in the train, and he was the main character in The Host. I'd like to think that he's a good actor. I don't know.
Me too.
A lot of Korean actors, but I think he's great.
He seems it. Yeah.
I enjoy his performances every time.
Yeah. So in this, he plays sort of like a bumbling detective. He's not an idiot per se, but he has his own methods of getting confessions out of people or knowing if somebody's guilty or not, which is literally just by staring into somebody's eyes and then claiming whether they're guilty or not, which, spoiler for the movie, doesn't always work.
Sounds like a Phoenix Wright plot, honestly.
Yeah. Early in the film, a detective from Seoul comes in to help out with the case. And then it becomes a story of these two detectives who are like constantly butting heads trying to solve this case where young women are found dead and gagged after like being raped, and then it gets kind of intense. And for a movie with such an intense subject matter, it's oddly funny, which is something that you don't really get from crime movies. Like Seven, Seven or something. Like, I don't think anybody would think Seven is a funny movie, or there's any funny parts to Seven. But I feel like that's Bong's like repertoire now. Like movies having very serious subject matter, and then contrasted with like these little funny parts. Mm-hmm. So like this movie has the most dropkicks I've ever seen in a movie. That's not a martial arts or action heavy movie. And all the dropkicks are pretty hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. And then there's a fight scene towards the end of the movie, like almost towards the end of the movie, that's actually like played for laughs. And yeah, that's just part of Bong's style at this point. It's like he puts comedy hand in hand with serious subjects, like in The Host. Not that it's a serious subject, but there is a giant monster terrorizing Korea. But it's all about like this bumbling family trying to save one of their own. Snowpiercer is a movie all about like class struggle set on a train, but that movie has some funny bits to it, you know. And then Parasite is pretty much just a dark comedy, and that movie's nothing but class inequality. So here you have like those comedic moments of, like I said, the drop kicks and the bumbling detectives, but then you also have the serious stuff, the murder part of the movie and the mystery that almost approaches the darkness of True Detective season 1. I think you've seen that.
Really?
Right? Yeah. It is. I've
seen that.
It doesn't get as dark as that first season, but it gets mighty close. And then, I'm not. Obviously, this is a mystery movie, so I'm not gonna spoil anything about it. But then, like on the technical side, I think the cinematography in this movie is amazing, almost rivaling Parasite's, which Parasite had amazing cinematography. The acting is great. The suspense is great. Where my disappointment lies at the end of the day is that the movie just feels like another run-of-the-mill detective story. Because here's where some of my bias comes in. I think that there are much better crime detective movies, and unfortunately, they all come from my favorite director, David Fincher. So like, there's nothing in this movie that exactly sets it apart from others, the way that like Zodiac. Have you guys ever seen Zodiac, Gone Girl, or Seven?
I've seen Gone Girl and Zodiac.
You haven't seen any of those movies, Angel?
Nope.
Oh man,
You're in for
I'm
a
so
treat
jealous.
of despair and darkness.
I've seen a Robot Chicken skit on Gone Girl with a Barbie.
Okay,
close enough. Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. Like, well, I guess slight spoilers for those movies. But like Zodiac is a detective movie that slowly turns into a movie about obsession. Gone Girl literally reveals its mystery at the halfway point of the movie.
Yep.
And then Seven is about a serial killer who bases his killings off the 7 deadly sins. So they all have their own spin on. I guess with Seven it's more of a gimmick. But at the same time, you know, it sets it apart from other crime detective movies. And this Memories of Murder is just very grounded. For lack of a better word, I guess it's basic. It's just like a basic story with the. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, does it feel almost like a TV murder mystery type of thing? Like, because like all those have like an element to them that separate them from just being like a Law and Order episode, but well done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, I guess kind of. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, the movie it's way darker than anything that you'll see ever in like Law and Order. Or NCIS or whatever those serialized shows are nowadays. But yeah, it's just very grounded. And I guess you kind of have to be when it's based off of something so serious that happened in real life. Of course, there's not going to be like any tentacle monsters that are committing the crimes and stuff like that.
Or snowy trains.
Yeah, or there's no Richard Chariots out there, you know, like causing the deaths of these women. But yeah, I just think it's very grounded. It's one of Bong's. I guess all of Bong's movies have been great. This is no exception. But it just didn't. This movie didn't do anything to reinvent the crime genre. But I guess it did come pretty close to being the best version of this type of film, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I were to have a bunch of movies like this, where it's just very, very simple, very basic, it's just a regular, I guess, murder mystery, this would be the best one. This would be the one that I would decide to watch. But I definitely wouldn't put this above, like I said, like Gone Girl, or Zodiac, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to say about it. The movie's, aside from the movie's great, you can finally watch it in 1080p or HD. I don't think it's available in 4K. I know Criterion does want to make a release of this movie, and I definitely will pick that up. But yeah, that's all I really got on Memories of Murder.
They
honestly.
just don't want to release it.
I think they are, but they announced it so long ago. I remember they announced the Criterion release of Parasite as well a while ago, and it barely came out.
Yeah, that took a while.
Criterion's criteria for getting some of their movies on there? Because I always thought of it as like the prestige, like top of the top. But
It
I mean,
is.
maybe it is, but I don't know. Lately, I've seen like a bunch of other movies on there that I'm like, oh, this is Criterion level. Like, I know the Harry Potter movies are Criterion collection.
Really? Wait, what?
No.
Yeah.
No way.
No, they're not. No.
Oh, no, I gotta look
Yeah.
this up.
Let's just keep saying no. Yeah, I'm looking this up. Let's keep saying no to kill airtime while we look it up. No.
One
I
of
don't
them
think that.
definitely is. At least one of them is for sure.
I don't
Couldn't
know.
tell you which one,
I don't
but
think so. The guy that illustrated the covers is one of their artists. Oh, hold on. Harry Potter Criterion Collection. Is this real? No, it's on Tumblr. It's fake. It's a fan-made thing.
Yeah, I don't see
It's a
I
fan-made
don't see
thing.
anything
It's not
with-
real.
with
It's not
Harry
real.
Potter here.
It's not
right
real.
here.
but
like,
they're
no
terrible
Harry Potter.
Googlers. I'll send you the link later.
but like all
it-
shut up.
Send it now.
All the
Send it right now.
I think all the Godzilla movies are in the Criterion Collection now.
They are in Criterion. Yeah, and I mean, not all of them are great either. I mean, they're just
I think it's
historical relics at this
a
point.
mix of excellence and cultural impact. So Godzilla was definitely
Preservation, I guess.
Yeah. So like Godzilla was a like defining movie, so it will get in there. You could argue if the Harry Potter thing was real, which I don't think it is, that the first one or one of them at least is like the impact of it as like one of the most successful book series, kind of one of the most successful movies. So there could be a cultural impact element potentially.
I would probably
believe that.
pick Prisoner of Azkaban as the one that deserves the Criterion release.
I feel like honestly, if they were to do a Criterion, it would have to be the first one because like it'd be weird if it's like, hey, here's Harry Potter 5 in a cool box, 1 through 1
that
through
would
4 and
really
6
speak
and
to
7.
part
Nah,
5, I guess.
I guess, but I don't really remember Prisoner of Azkaban that much.
Order of the
to be
Phoenix is
honest.
alright, I guess.
I remember Goblet of Fire very well because Harry's hair was ridiculous, but I don't remember 3.
You say he was extra hairy?
Prisoner of
Yes, indeed.
ever since I've been growing out my hair, that's all my dad's been calling me. Harry Potter. I hate it so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do something about it.
That was Memories of Murder in a nutshell. Diving into less serious subject matter, Angel, this it's a hell of a headline that you have here.
I mean, I wouldn't say less serious, but
There's one part
read
of
the
it.
headline, Kevin. Read the headline. And
The Rock versus Willow. Now, this can be interpreted as two things. The Rock, as in Dwayne Johnson versus Willow, which that would
as in
be
Willow Smith.
that would be a massacre. And
Would it? Because she can whip her hair back and forth.
oh, you thought
'Cause
you were thinking Willow Smith.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Wow.
there's a couple ways to interpret this then.
If this was a fighting game and it was Dwayne the Rock Johnson and Willow Smith, I think they're actually pretty
I mean,
even.
there's
'cause he
also
has
the
his fist, but she has her
tree
hair.
Willow in Pocahontas, but yeah.
I was thinking
What
Willow
Willow were
more
you
like
thinking, Kevin?
Warwick Davis.
Oh, well, that's I think what he.
No, yeah, I know
Meant.
that's what he's referencing, but when I see The Rock versus Willow, I think Dwayne Johnson versus Warwick Davis. No
I
disrespect
think
to Warwick
versus Will
Davis,
Smith.
but you're not going to beat The Rock.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, most people can't beat The Rock.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're talking about the just to be clear, we are talking about the movies, right?
Yeah, so this Rock has no Dwayne in it. It's all Sean Connery and Ghost Rider.
Rest in peace.
So actually,
Ghost
there's
Rider.
quite a lot of random
Cage?
people in here. I mean, you also have
Nick Cage.
Yeah, you have Ghost Rider. You have RoboCop. He's in there at some point. I think he's the main villain. You also have comedic. What's his name? Comedic custodian from Scrubs. He's also in there.
The janitor?
The janitor from Scrubs?
Yeah.
Neil Flynn?
Yeah, he's like a
Etor?
serious military dude. So it was like, it's really weird seeing him not be funny. maybe this was like a prequel, and this was
Okay,
like why
Neil
he is
Flynn
funny.
is not
Yeah, Neil
in The Rock. He's talking John C. McKinley.
God.
He's thinking Dr. Cox.
Oh god, he's thinking Dr. Cox.
Oh,
not
he's
the
a doctor. He's not a custodian. Duh.
Wow.
I didn't really watch Scrubs. I just know he's in there.
We're not at like Patriot levels of badly describing movies, but we're getting there.
To be fair, I think Neil Flynn did try out for the role of Dr. Cox.
I think he did too. I remember hearing that. And Dr. Cox, you may know from other serious movies like Saving Private Ryan, I believe.
He was in that?
I believe so.
I remember him from Office Space, but not Saving Private Ryan.
Oh.
All right, Angel.
I think he's in Saving Private Ryan.
Well, that doctor is in it. But yeah, this movie, it is a roller coaster. I didn't also realize this was a Michael Bay movie. And
Sorry, Platoon. He was in Platoon.
Oh my god,
Oliver
we're just
Stone's
getting all
Platoon.
this wrong.
Yep. Please continue, Angel. I apologize.
Yeah, so I mean, as soon as I saw Michael Bay, the only thing, honestly, I have to associate with him is, I guess, Transformers and kind of Armageddon. Like, I know I saw Armageddon, but I couldn't really tell you the nitty-gritty about it. I barely remember it. But yeah, I thought Michael Bay went hard on explosions in Transformers. I had no idea that was like child's play compared to this. Like,
That was restrained, Michael Bay.
Wait, really? I haven't seen The Rock. You're telling me that the explosions in Transformers are tame?
are nothing. Yeah, like this movie, like literally hits the ground sprinting. Like every single scene literally feels like the climax of the movie. like within the first 5 minutes when we get introduced to Nicolas Cage's character, he is in a sealed room with a toxin and everything is disintegrating around him. Like, oh my god, if this goes off, the whole city is gonna blow. And they're trying to I don't know. It's crazy. They draw it out for such a long time. It's almost exhausting. There's how much adrenaline there is, and then like I mentioned, explosions. Jesus, so many explosions, so many pileups. It literally feels like this movie was created with testosterone. They just injected so much testosterone into this movie. And I mean, it's a crazy ride. It's fun. It's really, I mean, a lot of it just feels overdone and dumb, but it's in a very enjoyable way. I could see why it's as popular as it is. Oh god, even that aforementioned scene. The reason we watched this movie was because there's a shower room. There's a shower room scene, not how it sounds. Where there is
there's a did you say shower up?
shower room.
Oh, shower room. I thought shower up like get ready gang, and you know how usually there will be a montage of people putting on their gear. I thought it was just gonna be close ups of people scrubbing their arms and they're putting shampoo in their hair, that kind of stuff.
Like a gear up
with explosions going off,
but just with showers instead.
Yeah, well, there's a scene in the movie that I guess was the center of it, because we were playing Splatoon and one of our friends mentioned that that team rocked us. They did something from the movie The Rock that reminded me of this. Essentially an ambush. They did an ambush. And
literally, it was just the word ambush. It was just the definition of ambush. That was it.
But I guess for our friend, the word ambush reminds him of The Rock. And yeah, that ambush, Jesus, for a gunfight that takes place in one small location, they draw it out for so long. They make it seem like a full-on war was happening, even though it was only maybe 20 to 30 people on each side. Jesus.
That is a full-on war. 20 to 30 per side? That's a gang war right there.
I'm comparing it to a whole battlefield.
Okay.
They make it feel like you're watching a battlefield of hundreds of people on each side fighting, shooting at each other. But oh man, this movie, if you just want spectacle, definitely check it out. The only part of the movie that felt kind of weird or to me was Sean Connery.
Rest in peace.
Nothing against him as an actor or anything. I barely know him in anything. I just know
James Bond.
He was, I guess.
That must have been Extraordinary Gentleman. Come on,
that's probably it. Honestly.
Oh, whoops.
His name. When I hear it, it does make me think of actor with prestige, I guess. But
it doesn't make you think of. I feel like so many people defaults to the Sean Connery impression from SNL during the Celebrity Jeopardy
Which
like
was
that accent, just the over the top like Sean Connery voice. It doesn't. You don't
well,
think
yeah,
of it
because he's supposed to be like this, like imprisoned guy for so many years. He's like a wild animal, blah blah blah. He comes out with like super long hair, like the master of like escape artist, and like they play him out to be like a super badass, but because he is more of like a gentleman. Like it's kind of weird. I don't know. He feels like you have like this like fancy, cool. I don't know. He feels like out of place. He just feels a little out of place. Like he's like in a slightly different genre, like one genre over. Like
felt too much like stunt casting, maybe.
Yeah, he felt more like I'm here because I'm Sean Connery, and less like I'm here because it makes sense. But I mean, Kingsman does have like secret agents that are also British, like fancy people.
But they're
like,
still British. Through and through.
Yeah.
Like they're not rugged.
I don't know why. It just, and I know like he's been James Bond, but I never saw any of his James Bond movies. So I don't know. I think I felt like some kind of weird detachment from that character in particular. Man, like if that movie was like super adrenaline, like what the heck is going on? Like I feels like we're like boys become men kind of movie. Then Willow is like kind of like the opposite. Like I also very much enjoyed this film.
I forgot we were about to talk about Willow.
I did too. I was like, what is this building towards?
like this movie like actually has something called pacing. Like they know to like in between high action and suspenseful scenes, they like to chill for a bit and let us catch our breath and maybe advance the plot with a little calmer stuff. Get some more character development in there. Not just like guns blazing like the whole time. But
that is character development for Michael Bay. The better they get at shooting guns throughout the movie is the better they become as people.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, what I didn't really expect from Willow, because, like, I've heard of this movie, never really knew much about it other than its name.
I think your brother-in-law says that he loves this movie.
Oh, yeah, he was a huge fan. I mean, he grew up with it, like, to him and his older brothers. That was, like, our Shrek, which I guess is, like, the movie we would watch on loop growing up. We saw Shrek and Miss Legally Blonde. I don't know why those two movies, but we watched the movies over and over and over again on DVD. There's a few other VHS ones that we could say like that, but they're mainly Disney. The point is, yeah, like him and his brothers, like they quote the movie. They actually, pretty scarily, I guess as soon as he told them we were watching it, as we were watching it, they were just started like sending quotes to him. And there was one quote that they sent to him just as they actually said it in the actual movie, almost like they were like counting in their head when we got to that point and then like sending it. Yeah, I didn't expect this movie to be like as funny and heartwarming as it was. Cause I kind of expected like a Lord of the Rings styled adventure. Yeah, just adventure setup. And it kind of was. You have like a reluctant hero that doesn't want to go on the quest. And you got your elves, you got your brownies and orcs, and brownies in this world are just like tiny little people that are clearly green screened on. That's like the only special effect that didn't really age well. Everything else actually aged pretty well. Maybe more so because they tried to use practical effects. Like they put these crazy little costumes on dogs to make them look like demon dogs. They still call them dogs, but they're clearly not dogs. But it's just funny seeing dogs in costumes, basically. Because, you see them move around and whatnot. And that was pretty funny. In a cool way, too. Because they actually look more believable than if they were just CG. But also, like, I don't know. Kind of like after watching the movie, something that just kind of made me realize something that there hasn't really been, at least a theatrical film I'm guessing of Willow's level with primarily little people to star in them like that since then. Like, has that actually been the case? Because other than Wee Man, who I know is more like a side character in the Jackass series, was just for comedy, like, I don't know, kind of wondering if there's been any other films that I may have missed.
I mean, I don't know if there's been dedicated to, but Peter Dinklage has had a very good career.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage does. Yeah, he is kind of, like, he is appearing in a lot of things, but I feel like Peter Dinklage he's more of like his own icon at this point. Because, because it wasn't just like the titular Willow. What was his name again, Kevin?
Warwick Davis.
Yeah, Mr. Davis. Like, he wasn't like the only one. Like, there was literally like a whole village, and like that's kind of where the movie starts. Like, he's kind of like the outcast of the village. He wants to become a great magician, and over the course of the adventure, discovers that the power within him all along. He just lacked confidence.
Spoilers.
But yeah, you can see it coming. But I don't know. It's still
also the movie's like 30 years old. But spoilers.
It's a pretty feel-good movie. Like, it's funny. There are some jokes in there that are definitely kind of dated, kind of the way Rush Hour is incredibly racist nowadays, but it's also kind of like a product of it. I don't know, it's funny because it's like unapologetically racist, but it's very...
But it wasn't at the time.
Yeah, but it's very true to the times. Like, it's not a movie that looks down on, like, Asian people, black people. Like, it just has a lot of, like, very racist jabs towards each other, but it also feels very real. Because, you know, like, I mean, checking, like, the main characters are of those races, and, you know, they learn to love each other and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, it definitely is telling of the time it was written up, but this is also set in a fictional world that's, you know, very Middle Ages kind of thing. It's definitely more on the sexist side of things, but everything else is still really, really great. Like, special effects, very, like, simple, charming story, and everyone, I mean, I felt all the performances were really great, especially the baby. There's a baby in the story who's like the baby of prophecy, and they somehow got that baby to emote like no other. It's pretty nuts.
But what do you think about Willow?
The main character, Willow?
No, that was a joke. I meant to be like, oh, that sounds great for The Rock, but what do you think about the movie Willow? It's fell flat on its face. Never mind. Keep going.
But yeah, just a very nice pre-gamer before we hit, I guess, The Rock, because that was...
So you saw Willow first and then The Rock?
Yeah.
But you talked about The Rock first and then Willow.
Because that one was fresher in my head. I just saw it yesterday.
Ah, yes.
All right. So now you've
Literally.
seen at least 6 or 7 Michael Bay movies. Which is the best Michael Bay movie?
Ooh.
Off the top of my head, probably The Rock.
Have you seen Bad Boys or Bad Boys 2?
Neither.
Okay. So yeah. So you've seen the 5 Transformers movies and The Rock. Oh,
haven't
and
seen
Armageddon?
all of them.
And Armageddon?
Have you seen Pain and Gain or whatever it's called?
Hold on. Did you say that you haven't seen all the Transformers movies?
I haven't seen all the Transformers movies.
Which ones
haven't
haven't you
seen
seen?
I've only seen the first 4.
First 4.
Out
Okay,
of
so
6.
you didn't see...
I saw the first one, saw Revenge of the Fallen, saw Dark of the Moon, and Age of Extinction. I didn't see The Last Night.
Oh, okay. Okay, I heard the Last Night was absolute garbage.
Wait, did you see Bumblebee?
That's not.
I know it's not Michael Bay. I know.
That's
I'm
Travis
just
Knight.
curious. But did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, so you just gave up on the end of the Bay formers.
Yeah, that one was also just like really, really long. I just like, there's no right time to watch it.
I still think Transformers 1 is a pretty good movie.
Oh, I love
No,
Transformers.
it is, but you said like my best one. Like, I definitely like The Rock more than Transformers 1.
Huh, interesting. To think that those movies are tame compared to this movie.
Whereas ridiculous, it just set a new standard for over-the-top action.
It's
Like,
funny.
I really want to see another movie like the only way for another movie to like top it would have to literally, I mean, this one kind of started with like action as well, but I mean, it would literally just have to be like nonstop as action the whole time. I don't know.
It's funny
kinda
because when I think Michael Bay, I know that he directed The Rock, but for some reason in my head that always seemed like the grounded Michael Bay movie because I know it's about breaking into Alcatraz.
Michael Bay goes wild.
And this was his second movie too, and the fact that he went balls to the wall with it is insane.
Yeah, we were cracking up with just like how long like some things were lasting. It's like, Jesus, they're still going. Like
It's just a minute of
like,
nothing but explosions.
it goes from like, whoa, look at that explosion to, oh, it's still going. Like, oh, there's an even bigger one now. Oh, is the movie just going to end here? It's like, oh, okay. I don't know. It's an eye tickler, that one.
An eye tickler.
Eye tickler. So I guess that makes Pain and Gain his most, I guess,
It was something.
his most tame movie then.
Yeah. I kind of I liked seeing Tony Shalhoub, the guy who plays Monk, in a villain role. Like, I thought that was fun in Pain and Gain.
Is Tony Shalhoub a villain? I thought, wasn't he a
Isn't
detective?
he? No, he plays, I think he's the bad guy.
Oh man, I saw Pain and Gain once and that was it.
I think he's the bad guy. But, but that movie, like, Pain and Gain was like, he took Bad Boys, stripped out the explosion, and was like, but let's keep the Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently written by the same guys that wrote Infinity War, Endgame, Winter Soldier, and Civil War.
Really?
Pain and Gain?
Yeah. So,
The Russo brothers?
no, the Russo brothers.
Oh, they just directed.
Yeah, he just
kidding.
directed, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Interesting. What a pivot.
yeah, that's a hell of a.
And I
What a pivot.
believe, I think Pain and Gain, does it have The Rock in it? To go full circle
Yes,
with the other
he's,
Rock?
yeah, he's one of the
There
main.
you go.
He's one of the main characters.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
there
in
you
it.
go.
It's him and Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. Oh, Michael Bay. What are we ever gonna do with you? They're pretty cringe now. They're pretty cringe nowadays. But Epic Rap Battles of History did an episode. I think it was Steven Spielberg versus Hitchcock, and it devolves to at some point, Quentin Tarantino gets involved in the rap battle. Then after that, he directed Psycho,
Michael Bay,
The Birds. No,
yeah, Hitchcock.
What am I thinking of? Not Hitchcock.
No, not.
Well, he did direct those two you
The
mentioned.
Shining. Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick. Is in there.
Kubrick.
And at the end of that, Michael Bay comes in, and his backgrounds are nothing but explosions. And Michael Bay just raps about how all that matters is money.
So you could say he exploded onto the scene in the video.
Yeah, and probably the best part of that video.
Saying like nothing matters at all except for the money. It's all about the money.
He's like, no time to read reviews while I'm working on the sequel. It's pretty funny, honestly.
You could say he's very successful in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
The man knows how to make an explosion.
Yeah.
And then does it 100 more times in the next 5 minutes.
Apparently released a movie last year, 6 Underground on Netflix.
Oh yeah, it's on Netflix. And the trailer, if I remember, was literally just a 2-minute car chase. That was the whole trailer.
Cool,
just a car chase. Yeah. No, it's something.
Yeah.
But I feel like Michael Bay you need like a big theater for. You need the explosions and like you need your seat to shake.
What if you're
gonna go like if you're gonna go Bay, yeah, that's true. Then you could do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a theater anymore. No one needs theaters anymore. They're probably gonna go out of business.
Which is sad. I like going to movie theaters.
Yeah, I like going to movie theaters, but there's no way that I was gonna risk getting sick to go see Tenet.
No. I mean post-COVID.
Post-COVID? What would be the biggest movie post-COVID to go see in theaters?
I would say Tenet, but they're putting it on DVD next month, next month.
You sound legitimately upset.
I am. I want to see Tenet in IMAX. I want to hear the garbled sound in 5.1 surround. Not safely and not IMAX.
Well, what'd you say? I want to hear the gargled...
The garbled sound in 5.1 surround, Dolby Atmos or whatever. His sound mixing still sucks. But
did we talk about that last episode?
No. But he does have crappy sound mixing.
Yeah, I recently rewatched the Dark Knight trilogy. The sound mixing on those movies is beyond terrible. There were parts where I couldn't hear like Bruce Wayne talking, and then all of a sudden you hear a gunshot, and it was the loudest thing in the entire world. His sound mixing sucks so bad, and he won an award for it for Dark Knight.
There's 2 thoughts I have on sound mixing. One is I'm glad he's starting to be aware of it. He said in an interview other directors have called him out on it, and he's aware, so okay. And 2, the one movie where it actually works is Dunkirk, because the visceral nature of that movie and the fact that you're just in this war zone, like having the voices overpowered by the planes, having the gunshots be so loud, it like literally in this theater I was in like shook the seat, like when they were shooting at the one of the planes. Like it, yeah, that's the one movie where it makes sense, but it's definitely not great when, you know, Bruce Wayne's pining about like his Playboy lifestyle and you can't hear him because it's like the whole time or whatever. Although the sound mixing does work for Bane, because it makes I'm Gotham's Reckoning that much better because it has that weird reverb, like deep bassy thing going.
Did you ever see the video that was released of how he originally sounded when they released the intro of that movie in IMAX?
Yes, and it wasn't as fun at all.
It was
so much more garbled.
It was more serious. It wasn't as goofy as.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I know. It wasn't as fun. I know.
Which I just want to watch a movie where he sounds like that, where he actually sounds menacing and not like a cartoon character.
To this day, still do the I'm Gotham's Reckoning.
Made for a funny cartoon character in Harley Quinn,
and he has the voice. It's perfect. Yeah,
right.
But I love doing the Bane voice. I know it's not a good voice for that movie, but I love that voice so much.
Love that voice.
Love that voice.
Well, Angel, which one would you rather see, The Rock or Willow? Which one would you rather see a sequel to, actually? Because Willow is getting a sequel on Disney+.
Willow.
The Rock definitely isn't getting a sequel now that Sean Connery said, but...
The Rock is more like a fun, like, one-time thing. Willow is more like, I want to see more from this world.
Right. Well, luckily you'll get that chance, I guess.
On Disney Plus, coming in 2021 or 22.
Yeah.
Which, if you have Verizon Wireless, we're still not sponsored, but you can still get for free with your plan.
At this point, we might as well be sponsored with the amount of times that you plug them in.
I just want free service. Is that too much to ask?
I guess not. But, unless we got anything else, I think that wraps this episode.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Anything? No? All right. Cool.
No?
Let us know what you thought about the podcast, either in the comments to the blog post here or on our Twitter at Random Nintendo. We are randomnintendo.com on YouTube. You can also find the episodes there. And, of course, we are on your favorite podcasting app, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all that jazz. On on Twitter individually, you can find us at JSR7 for Jason, Weiro_O, WEIRO_O for Angel. And then you can find me, Kevin Gomi, KVNGOMIE. And like I said, tomorrow I will be doing a one chip challenge on my YouTube if you want to listen into that. Or I guess no, today, because this will be going up on Sunday. So later on today, I will be doing a one chip challenge, and on Tuesday I will be building a computer on stream. Little shameless plug there.
And Kevin, for these wonderful visual opportunities for people to enjoy, to have people tickle their eyes with, or whatever Angel said, they will be archived afterward. Yes, I would assume. Yeah. If people listen later in the week.
YouTube live streaming is kind of a pain, but the one plus that I will give them is that they do auto archive all live streams, which is pretty cool.
So if you listen to this on Wednesday, folks, you can still check it out.
Yeah,
and speaking of checking things out, can I do a shameless plug too, real quick?
I was going to do it for you, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Next week we will have a new episode of Random Nintendo, and I believe the contest for the Game & Watch is still on.
Yes, so if you want to win a free Game & Watch Super Mario Brothers system, we have a contest going last week, this week. I like how it's like, should I do a plug? Should you do a plug? And I ended up doing the plug anyway. But yes, go to ramnintendo.com, go to our Ram Nintendo episode, our latest, episode 242, and leave a comment on that blog post telling us your favorite Mario memory, whatever it may be, good or bad, just a favorite, and you'll be entered for a chance to win. And we're just going to share some of the favorite memories next episode, maybe share some of our own, and then, pick a winner. So, next weekend.
Yeah, cool. You'll be able to listen to that episode the next Sunday, which will be the last Random Nintendo of the year, right?
No, there's two more.
Wait, is there?
Yep.
What?
Yeah. The 6th and the 20th.
6th and the 20th.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm way off then. What was I thinking?
Yeah, we have a month. We have 2 more of each show to go.
All right, cool. And then, so I guess that means that we have 2 Quarantine Chronicles that we're doing before the end of the year.
Yes, indeed. I think our last one is, well, actually, depending on when New Year's Eve falls out, or New Year's Day falls out.
I mean,
yes, we have one on the 27th. We have one on the 13th and the 27th.
Okay, so for the 27th, I might as well spoil this. We will be doing the Quarantinis, where we just...
I love the name.
Where we're just talking about all our favorite stuff of the year. So
while drinking martinis, let's figure that one out. We're going to have martinis for Quarantinis somehow.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Angel, what'd you say?
For every category that we have on here, anime, music, television, games, YouTube / Twitch.
I guess we can do that. Maybe literally whatever.
We'll figure it out. We have a month. We have a month.
We got a month.
And if we're planning ahead, also in the last Nintendo of the year, per usual, we will be discussing our games of the year, which I think coincides with our coverage of the Game Awards. So it's gonna be a super award heavy episode.
Okay.
2 episodes from now.
Cool. Yeah. And with that, we will bid. Oh no, Jason has the last word, and then we will bid you adieu. Jason.
I already plugged the thing. I have nothing. I don't know what to. Win a Game & Watch.